You're listening to the HUD Podcast, the official podcast for the Hudsonian newspaper at Hudson Valley Community College. An HVCC podcast for the students, by the students. Your news now. Get ready to enter the HUD. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the HUD, the official podcast for the Hudsonian, the student-run news organization at Hudson Valley Community College. I'm Nolan Cleary. I'm the managing editor for the Hudsonian.
And I'm Samantha Simmons, and I'm the broadcast editor for the Hudsonian.
The COVID-19 pandemic has taken its toll on many clubs on campus. With more students and staff working remotely, opportunities for in-person engagement have largely decreased. Because of this, you may find it to be a surprise that the theater club at HVCC is still fully operational, with some productions still moving forward. One of its members is the Hudsonian's own Kevin Conley II. He joins us today to discuss his work on the Hudsonian, as well as the current status of the theater club. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you for having me. I'm actually quite honored to be here.
So my first question of today is going to be, what is your position on the paper? What do you do for the Hudsonian?
Well, basically, I like to write any news that's not that doesn't have to do with politics. And, for example, I like to write reviews on movies because I'm a massive movie fan, and any movies really. And I, like TV shows and albums, and I don't review video games because, I don't really get a lot of video games much. And also, I like to write about art and cultural stories. There was this story about this band who plays music and like Irish music and occasions and everything. I like that kind of stuff where I get to discover other people's culture and related stuff. So I find that very riveting and all that stuff. But I love opinion reviews more.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so what brought you to the Hudsonian? So if you're a member of the theater club at Hudson Valley, so what made you want to pursue being in another club, especially something as, heavy as the Hudsonian can sometimes be?
Well, ever since I came to Hudson Valley, I didn't really have a lot of skills ever since high school, but I've always had a hobby of photography, and I wasn't always good at writing, but the teachers were very interested in me writing. They really liked what I did, and my parents were impressed about it too. So I saw a flyer at the library, the school library, of flyers of photographers and writers for hiring at Hudsonian. So I was like, oh, hey, that's great. I can probably go to that to discover if I'm really good at it, and I'll get paid to do it. So I came to Hudsonian in the first meeting, and I've been writing stories ever since.
Nice. So what's your major?
Theater arts.
That's in theater arts. So being a member of the theater, so when did you start at Hudson Valley? Let's start there.
I started during the fall semester in 2019, right after Labor Day.
Okay, so you were able to experience, at least one semester of what the theater, and I don't know if you were involved with the Hudsonian at that point. So tell us a little bit more about that, because people who are students who are new this year, or even last spring semester, may not really know what goes on in these programs.
Well, actually, I've been in Hudsonian ever since that semester when I came in Hudson Valley. So I've been writing for about a year now, and I've also wanted to join theater arts because ever since I was 5 years old, I wanted to become an actor. At first for movies, but now that I've gotten into theater, I want to actually be an actor in anything, film or theater, so that way I can have more opportunities to be in anything. And I've also discovered that writing and photography are also part of my skills thanks to Hudsonian. So ever since I came to Hudson Valley, I've actually knew what kind of skills I had, and I knew what I wanted to do. So ever since then, I figured Hudson Valley can help me achieve the skills I need to become who I want to be. And it was at times it's kind of stressful though, but that's kind of like one of the aspects of becoming a creative artist. You have to go through anxiety and depression, and you gotta
Hmm.
like you gotta like see the eyes of like a creative person and know what it's like to work really hard to achieve this profession. So I didn't like
So, what were some notable projects you worked on through the theater club?
well, I've actually wrote a club review of the theater club twice actually, because I figured since I am passionate for theater and all that stuff, I knew that there would be other students who are like me that are interested in theater, and I want people to actually know about the theater club and the in theater classes and the entire what was it again, a study major. Yes, I wanted everyone in Hudson Valley to know about the major, be well aware of it. That way there'll be more students like me who need a plan to be a part of it. So I've been working on setting out some club profiles of the theater, and then a theater club. And I've actually interviewed Roseanne like 3 times actually, because she's the only theater teacher I know that's like actually she's actually been in this school for more than 20 years, and it kind of blew my mind. So, and she's like, and just kind of like more than like a teacher, she's like a character, which I find way more fascinating than people, because you actually you get to like know what people are like in the inside, and you want to like ask them for their help. And she's way more experienced with theater. So ever since then, I've been writing stories about Roseanne, like her professor profile, her class. I've been writing about the major and about theater club, and I've also been writing about a couple of projects too, like Shakespeare and Company last semester actually. And I've also wrote a play about The Seagull, which that was a play that came out last year, which I actually had a really good time with. Though I had a really good time writing stories about theater studies and all that stuff.
Have you ever acted or directed any projects in theater club?
Well, I've actually mostly been acting though. I have been taking acting classes, things acting 1 and 2. I also went to a play that was canceled before like when the pandemic happened, when the school shut down. It was called Cloud 9, which was like it's like a 2-act play showing like 2 different like timelines. It's like one is like in the early 1900s, and like where like British people like in Africa. It's supposed to be a comedic play, but I found it very peculiar, but I also had a great time. And I also went to a pre-recording event of Dog Sees God, which like came out during December, like a month ago. And it's supposed to be like a dark twist of the of Peanuts, with like Charlie Brown and Lucy, but they
Yeah.
were like high students and everything. Which those are the only plays I've been in.
Do you have anything, so outside of the Hudsonian and theater club, do you have like any other clubs that you're part of on campus that you think contribute to, either of these clubs, like any of the skills, or anything outside of school that you do?
Well, not exactly. I mean, I haven't been in any more clubs because I've been focusing on like schoolwork and everything, and I figured I've kind of used a lot of free time outside of class to write for the
Mhm.
newspaper. Except there was one time when I checked out theater club, I think during the fall semester, and I seemed to have a great time, but I didn't go there all the time, which I was pretty busy.
Yeah. Outside of what you do for the Hudsonian and the theater club, do you have anything that you like write on your own? Do you have any like miniature plays, um, I don't know what the other word for it is called, vignette? Do you have any things like that written that you just like
Like
keep off to the side?
I've actually been working on poetry for a while, and I've also I also take pictures of landscapes as a hobby. I don't know why, but I always, my the what was it? The environment near my house, it's like it's in the country, like in the middle of nowhere. So every afternoon, or well, basically a lot, I've been taking pictures of landscape photos, and yeah, I have like a ton of landscape photos on my Google Photos app, and I've also been writing down my thoughts on a notebook, and I actually have a ton of ideas for like a couple screenplays, and I have been meaning to write a screenplay for a while, but I've kind of been sidetracked from college and work and everything like that. But usually, and I've also been meaning to write songs too. I kind of just want to like write,
Right,
anything for,
everything.
yeah, so that way I can bring out my ideas and then just split like each idea like little digits and put it into like a whole project. But
So when you write for the Hudsonian, do you think that any of that like style of writing, do you think that it applies to you in your like creative career outside of being like a more AP driven writer? And does that like add to your creative side?
actually, it does. Yeah, I mean, I've usually most of the stories I wrote for Hudsonian, they are based off on the research I found, but then I just fill in the rest of my thoughts to like in my understanding of like this specific written piece to like add to my creativity. Like for
Mhm.
example, how I wrote a review of how I read like my movie reviews of Uncut Gems or We Are Who We Are, which was a series review and everything. I
Mhm.
like to write down my thoughts and how it like connects to the things that I like, and sometimes when I like write essays, like personal essays for work, like class work and everything, I write down opinions of basic icons. Like for example, I write down what I think about Julius Caesar or um, and like other Western civilization people. I'm sorry, this is just I wish I had a word for it, but I didn't. And oh, and definitely in English composition, I wrote an essay about Raymond Carver, who was known for writing a poem for what we talk about when we talk about love and everything. And I also got this project where I'd write down how I first knew this poem and how it connects to all the other related stuff. Like the singer Lord,
Mhm.
the one who sang Royals.
Yep.
Yeah, in English class, my teacher like talks about how she's related to how like her songs are connected to like Raymond Carver's work, and
Mhm.
also this movie I like called Birdman. The film actually completely influences the play itself. We Are Who We Are. I mean, what we
Mhm.
talk about when we talk about love, and yeah, so I like writing stories about some of the similar stuff that I like and why it means a lot to me. And oh, and also I'm actually doing a TED Talk speech this Wednesday, about like how artists and dreamers are not getting a lot of credit and not being recognized a lot, how it's hard for them to like achieve the goal that they want. And I kind of want to find like any opportunity outside of Hudson Valley where I can become like a creative like a creative artist outside of work and use the only
Mhm.
skills I have to achieve what I can in life.
So Kevin, you're a part of theater club. I know that right now a lot of people are concerned because of the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, they don't want to go outside. A lot of people don't want to be in person. Um, what would you say to someone who may be interested in joining the theater club, but is too afraid to go outside because of all of what's going on in the world right now?
Hmm. That actually is a really good question. I've actually never been asked this before, but all right. I think I would probably go anyone out there who wants to be a part of theater or wants to do anything related to stuff like this to like achieve a dream, even if you can't go to Hudson Valley, you can do like three ways. One, you can always go online in acting classes or any theater classes like me, which I'm going to be going to acting 3 and theater practicum through online classes like Zoom. So if as long as you pick a theater class you want to go to, you can contact your advisor, and if it's an online class, he'll set you up, and then your teacher will send you your username and or yeah, the meeting ID for the Zoom class, and then you'll be able to make it. And then you just go to these classes for the semester, and if you want to go to another, you could just go to another class for the semester. Second, you could probably you can actually act anywhere. You don't need an acting class to practice acting. They have a book about it. You can look up acting tutorials on YouTube. You can even find screenplays online in like a PDF form, which I have. I actually saved tons of screenplays that I love to practice on, like The Lighthouse, which that's personally it's my favorite thing to practice acting on, and I love doing the accents. So there are like so many ways you can practice acting outside of college, and if you want to do it, go for it. Or if you're not into acting, you can like learn how to be a director with your iPhone or your tablet or whatever camera you can use, and even if it's bad, then just keep working on it, and I'm sure that that one day, like 20-30 years from now, when you become a like this like groundbreaking filmmaker, then you'll probably look back at what you did. It was like, you know what, I'm glad I did this. I worked hard to accomplish this dream, because even if my first movie's bad, I became better. And it's all about experience, though, personally. And the third thing, what was I gonna say? Well, you could always just you can always find motivation on doing theater related stuff. Like you could probably find an abandoned building or of some kind and use it as your stage. And if you have a place that you want to go where you can like act and do anything theater related, and just immerse yourself with your own imagination, then I expect you to do so, because I don't think there's going to be anybody in this world that's going to keep you from doing that. I mean, even before the pandemic started, there were a lot of people that had to have a very difficult time achieving this dream of becoming an actor, a filmmaker, a theater person thing. But whatever you guys want to do, I know this sounds cliche and everything, but just find any possible way you can. Like, like me, for example, how I write my screenplays, which I know I've been to a lot of writing classes to like learn how to be a better writer, but you can also find information on how to be a better writer. You just write a script in a book, or, well, actually, I think a book is more safe, but if you want to make it easier, you could just type it on a laptop or your tablet and everything like that. Like Kristen Wiig, who got nominated for an Oscar screenwriting Bridesmaids, which is insane. But yeah, so you don't need classes to become like a theater professional, like career. Man, I don't have another word for this, but yes. So anyone who's out there during the pandemic, get to work. Don't let anything stop you. Oh, and yeah, that's it. Okay, that's
Yeah, wait, I actually wanted to learn a little bit more about this TED Talk you were talking about.
yes. About like 10 minutes away from my house, there's this Byrne Public Library that I've been going to ever since 7th grade, which, yeah, like 8 years, I believe. So when I go to this library all the time, and this librarian Kathy, she wanted to do like this project where she would bring people together to create like a speech of like their own topic they want to talk about, or something that's like controversial, or something that would be a good topic to talk about. So my topic is about how artists and dreamers are not being recognized, and how they're not given a lot of credit for what they want to do, and they're trying really hard to get people's attention and have the opportunity to have the career they want to pick. So I typed in a speech based off of my own experience on any opportunity I can to become an artist myself, like how I came to Hudsonian to learn how to write and take pictures, and how I came theater to theater arts to be in a play to learn how to act in my acting classes. How there's like hundreds of people that are trying to find any opportunity they can to get the dream job they want, and then and then usually most people tell me, I think you should find a better opportunity or a better career choice, like be an engineer or be other things like that. But I want to create a speech of like a with like a PowerPoint that's going to be recorded and everything. I want to record myself with a speech and a PowerPoint, tell people, to let people know that there are people like me that want to become an artist and achieve a dream that they want in their own way without ever picking a job they don't want, where they can live and do what they want to do. So, yes, this Wednesday, I'm going to be recording myself that speech on TED Talk or TEDx. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I've already written up a draft, and I'm going to be sending up a PowerPoint, and then I'm going to be pre-recorded at a live event at the Byrne Public Library, which is like, it's 10 minutes away from my house, but anyone who lives in Troy, it could be like 30 or 40 minutes, unfortunately. But it's a good library. It's small, and they let people in. You just got to wear a mask and everything. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Is this going to be put online?
I think so. I might have to email Kathy about that and everything. I could shoot you an email if if it is going to be online, but I'm sure it'll be a live event.
I love TED Talk, so that's so interesting to me. That's really cool. That's really awesome that your library has that available to you. Yeah.
All right, that about wraps up this week's episode. Thanks again for listening, and make sure to tune in for next week's episode. To read more about the following stories, make sure to head over to thehudsonian.org for the latest on-campus news from the Hudsonian, and make sure to listen to new episodes of The Hud every Monday.